I'm really good.
Am I a guitar hero? Yes, I'm a legend.
I'm 46. I don't feel 46. I don't look 46.
I like to tap people's curiosity when it comes down to thinking.
When I write music, I think about, like, sex.
I had a French girlfriend, French-Canadian girlfriend, named Manon, who, when we would make love, would speak French to me. And I was thinking, I'm really good, you know, and I know what she was saying. So we just started kind of conversing a little bit in French. And I'd always loved the song Michel by the Beatles. And
So it's a language that inspired you, and you chose to...
French, too. My dad was French-Irish, so...
Okay, I'll answer it. I think there's a good chance it might not have. The guitar player that we hired in Metallica before James actually started playing was, he wasn't metal. And if he would have been the guy that we chose over me, you know, and who knows what would have happened. And I think that if you really look at the mathematics of Metallica in the beginning, me being the only guitar player, yeah, if I wasn't there, probably wouldn't have been in Metallica.
And Megadeth, who everybody's so afraid of, who they think that we're satanic. Yeah. We're doing things like helping young babies in hospitals, giving them toys and shit, and then we're helping feed the homeless and the hungry in America. And it really is blowing people's minds because they think that, you know, we're all spaced out and like really evil, but, you know, we're doing things that, because the fans have helped us, we're helping them back.
Am I a guitar hero? Yes, I'm a legend.
How come?
I don't know. People call me a legend. I just, you know, if they say, hey, legend, I don't go, okay, I'm over here. You know, but I guess probably because I've died once and I'm still here and I've sold 20 million records with Megadeth and 40 million with Metallica, that makes me legendary. I paid my dues, and I think that if anybody can really say, I know what it feels like, any one of our fans can come up to us and say just about any story to me, and I can say I either have done it, thought about it, had a nightmare about it, dreamt about it, wanted it done to me, or wanted to do it to somebody else. On stage, I turn into a motherfucker, you know. After, it takes me time to kind of come down. So if you see me tonight, you're probably going to need to give me about a half hour because I'm not going to be the same person you're talking to right now. It's kind of like turning into a vampire or turning into a werewolf or something like that, you know what I mean?
It said that you landed your gig as Metallica's lead guitarist without even having to audition. That's true?
Yeah.
Were they familiar with your guitar playing already? And no, not at all?
Mm-mm. I went in there and I set my stuff up and I was just tuning my guitar and I came in and I said, okay, so, you know, are we gonna do the audition? They said, no, you got the job, and I was just warming up. So I think what they heard pretty much impressed them to the point where they didn't need to do that.
When I was growing up, I lived in Garden Grove in Santana, which is part of the barrio in Orange County and by LA County, all that area. And there's a lot of gang violence there. And the high school that I went to was predominantly black and Hispanic. And I had really short red hair at the time, and I was getting beaten up every day. So my brother-in-law was the chief of police in Stanton. I started getting into martial arts there to protect myself, and it carried on into where it started I created, you know, my own demise by getting an attitude like I was tough, which is, you know, it's against what the belief is, the creed of what I was taking. And once I got past the whole Metallica stage, when I joined Metallica, I stopped actually working out because I thought that I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof because I was drinking. Now that I've gotten sober and with this new band, I'm taking kickboxing from Sensei Benny Urquidez, who has his own style deemed from the motherland of Japan. With me, I like to tap people's curiosity when it comes down to thinking. Not very many people think. The average education level in the world is a 5th grade reading level, you know, and you figure 5th grade, I was like just learning what girls were about, you know, and to think that that's where people's brains stop, you know. It's no wonder so many people get divorces. But anyways, you know, there's all kinds of ways to educate yourself, and most people learn how to drink real well or to ruin people's lives, and we want to help people out, you know, like make them learn how to read and make decisions for themselves.
And you think you can do that through the lyrics?
Well, yeah, if you look at a word like anathematize,
when you say, what does that mean? You look it up in the dictionary, you know, it means like to put somebody under a spell. You know, it's a good word. I mean, not very many people can use anathematize in their day-to-day, you know, vocabulary, but once you start using the dictionary, you start getting interested, and you might buy yourself a book or something and start reading a little more or whatever.
I think as far as like technically, Rust in Peace was a record that really changed a lot of people's lives. Peace Sells was a record that really blew the heavy metal marketplace open in the States. Countdown to Extinction was a huge commercial success in the States for metal. And I think between those three records and United Abominations, you know, you pretty much can listen to those four records and get an understanding of what the band's been like for the last 25 years. You know, you look at a lot of people that are really lazy with what they do. It shows up in their work. I'm really dedicated to what I do. I'm 46. I don't feel 46. I don't look 46. And I don't play 46.
Sex is never too far from Dave Mustaine's mind.
When I write music, I think about, like, sex, you know, and violence. It's kind of Clockwork Orange, but, you know, it works. You know, you start off with a little foreplay, you get into the real heavy, serious sweating, and then it's over.
Mustaine says he prefers sex and violence to Satanism, which he says he investigated in the early 1980s. One of the founding members of Metallica.
This is one of the things that kind of like made me kind of veer away from it. It's like I heard that you had to consecrate your marriage to the underworld by having sex with a satanic priest. And I said, I don't care, no matter how bad I want to be evil, no one's mounting this kid.
So if I wasn't a musician, I would probably want to be a doctor, helping children do some Doctors Without Border journeys, anything to help. You know, I love being able to help people. I went through my life for so long being on my own, being alone, having nobody. And then the time that I spent homeless was the worst, the absolute fucking worst. So I know what that's like. I know what it feels like to be homeless. I know what it feels like to be hungry. The only thing I think I would want to be is of help to others. In a homeless center, and a soup kitchen, and a bread line. You know, that's why I wrote Bread Line, because we went past that place every day. We would see the guys out there just waiting for food. It makes me want to try that much harder to try and help people, to try and understand people. Before, you know, I felt like I deserved it. Now, whether I deserve it or not, I fucking want it. I want to play. I want to go out and just shred on my guitar, and people go, I can't believe that he is alive and doing that.
For sure. You thought that you deserved like a redemption, like a comeback from being
I think
cancer?
all musicians feel to a degree that, you know, there's things that they worked really hard for, and it would be nice to get a thank you or to get a attaboy and stuff like that. I've never been that dude. You know, I was never striving for the approval of other people. At some point it mattered to me, but it wasn't something that I felt incomplete without.